Hello there everyone, and welcome to a new Let's Play with me, your host Tim. And today, we're going to start playing Children of Morta together. There will be some prep here that you can skip by going to the comments section down below, where there will be a comment from me allowing you to jump past this 4 to 5 minutes of preamble. We're going to talk briefly about what this game is, how far I got in it, and any special stuff you should know before we get going. So first, what is this game, Tim? Well, Children of Morta is a twin-stick shooter. It's got melee and range, depending upon the character that you are using. I would consider it faster-paced than a game like Darkwood, but slower-paced than a game like Cryptark. We'll be playing several different characters throughout the game, and I don't think we'll need to discuss the story very much because we'll see a good deal of it right in the beginning, with more of it revealed as time goes on. The game is also a roguelite game. There you get an attempt to beat a dungeon that your character will go into, and if they die, you'll have to reattempt it again from the start. There is no saving the game midway, so you fail your attempt, again, starting over from scratch. The dungeons as well are randomly generated, similar to Cryptark or Cthulhu's Untold Stories, for example. I should really play that game again. In any case, we'll be looking to defeat the boss at the end of each level to unlock the next level, while gaining gold and experience to improve our weapons, armors, and abilities. You should know that I didn't get very far in this game. It took me several tries to beat the first boss, and I expect we'll have a similar experience here. I think I've played the game for maybe 8 hours or so. Enough to know that I really liked what I've seen so far. I enjoy the story, I find the gameplay to be excellent, I like the art as well for the game. If you decide to pick up this game, you should know that the game does support multiplayer. I believe it supports 2-player local co-op at the moment. While the game is not in early access, I believe it is officially released, there are some other features which the developers are working on implementing and will be coming on later throughout the year and what have you. I believe they have another dungeon planned, another unlockable character. They're looking to have multiplayer supported through online play, and a few other things as well. For special stuff, the game has lore entries in it and character backgrounds written, and I will be reading a few of these at the end of each episode. I think I'll probably stick to reading like 2 to 3 of them whenever I end a video. So we'll be reading about these characters and any notes we pick up. I will not be talking over any cutscenes, and I'll do my best not to talk over the narrator. He talks a great deal when we're in between dungeons, and sometimes in them as well. Like Cryptark, I'll end Cthulhu Untold Stories, I'll be trying to talk during the gameplay itself, but I find that in twin-stick shooter games, I tend to concentrate a good deal once the battles start, so there may not be a great amount of talking during them in the end. Also a heads up that there was quite a bit of talking from the narrator during the tutorial, so you will probably only hear me chime in when explaining game mechanics. The tutorial will be mostly thematic. Speaking of theme, the game explains why death and dying will be something we should accept. That it's going to happen on occasion. And on that note, you should probably expect death to occur frequently to me at the start. The first boss, again, was especially rough, or so I thought at least. Also, you should know that when it comes to the characters, I have only 3 of them unlocked. You get 2 right at the beginning of the game, with a 3rd unlocking a little bit later in. There, again, I think there's like 8 characters or so total, and I'm going to also be playing all of them. On that note, to my knowledge, when we get a new character unlocked, they start at level 0. I will be leveling all the characters to be of equal level. What this means is that for new characters that get unlocked, I will be running them through areas that I had done already with other characters. I'll probably record a bit of this so we can see how the character works. And when it comes to doing new dungeons, I'll try to mix and match who we bring with us. So we won't be watching John's story every single time. We'll try the dungeon with his daughter when we get a chance. Like, if we beat the first dungeon with John, the second one we'll try with the daughter, and so on. And we'll do that for all the characters, assuming I can. The game does allow you to farm and grind if you want to level up your characters significantly. So this way you could have like a character who's like 20 levels higher than the boss is. But I will not be doing that. If that sort of thing happens, it's only because I'm bad enough at the game that I'm forced to do the levels over and over and over again. But hopefully nothing of that sort will occur. And again, or maybe not again, but if I do die with a character, I will try a different character and make the attempt again. This way I'm not super leveling one particular character. Alright, well, I think that about covers it, everyone. Oh, one last thing, I guess. When it comes to farming or grinding, again, I don't intend to do any of it. Like, I don't tend to make that a thing I do. However, I will record me doing some of that, like leveling the other characters on screen. So there may be some videos where there's no new content, in which case I will let you know with some sort of special symbol. Check, like, the title of the video will have a mark of some sort I'll put up there, or a statement which will let you know that nothing new happens here, but we're playing this character to level them. Okay, I think that covers it. I'm going to go check on the volume of my voice, and assuming everything is good, I'll be right back to start a new game. Okay, everyone. I think everything's coming out okay. So let's go ahead and start us up a new game, shall we? Difficulty. So, the only difference I'm aware of between normal and hard is that on hard, enemies have 30% more life, but you also gain 25% more experience for fighting the creatures on this difficulty. I don't know if the game's going to end up being a little more simple than it is for me at the moment, but I think we'll play it on normal at this time. If it ends up being a little too easy, maybe we can swap the difficulty during the game itself, but if we can't, well, I still think the game is enjoyable enough that I will not regret recording it, and I find the combat to be a lot of fun. The character is diverse enough that it's, again, I like this game from the few hours I've played it so far. Alright, that didn't tell you anything. We're gonna go ahead and play on normal on the off chance that hard is a little too hard, and if in the end it wasn't, well, we'll still have a good time. Let's go ahead and start, shall we?
Margaret awoke, startled, a cold sweat clinging to her. She gathered her thoughts. Aged wood creaked, echoing through the quiet rooms. Near the house stood a shrine to Rhea Dana, goddess and daughter of the land, of Rhea and a being of comfort. Margaret sought answers. But the goddess did not speak. There was only the faint whisper of something dark, something hungry. The old seer's bones felt the weight of their age as she climbed. the only thought on her mind. Has it begun again? John's mission would be a simple one. He was to investigate Rhea's greatest shrine. His mother presented him with a fresh divinity shard. From his brother came a newly sharpened sword. His wife gave him a kiss, and his daughter's hugs were full of reason to return home safe. Rhea, a land long forgotten, a place of unimaginable beauty. It first appeared as sludge given life, slithering creatures, small and vile.
I will be using a gamepad throughout this game. So we have a primary attack, and as you can see, we click a button to actually do it. However, when using melee attacks, you can use that button, or if you have a gamepad like I have a Logitech gamepad here. You can actually use the right stick to attack as well, with a little more efficiency than using the button. The button requires you to be facing a certain direction in order to swing. That's not the case with the other game stick. Attacking with the sword does not cost John anything, as far as I'm aware. He makes good sweeping strikes, able to hit everything within his front 180-degree arc. There's evading in the game as well. I don't think evading makes you immune to damage. We'll try it here. Oops. It takes a few seconds to recharge your evade meter. Oh, it does make you immune. Okay, so you can dash through enemies with it. Sometimes, enemies will drop life potions. These heal a percentage of your life. Enemies are pretty clever, and they will attempt to surround you and attack you, avoiding at least avoiding John's sweeping strikes.
impeding further progress. A battle was certain.
John has a shield he can use. To block attacks with. Blocking consumes his stamina, which is the blue bar he has. He can attack even while the shield is up. Note that his attack, though, becomes a thrust. It has less coverage. Than his sweeps have.
Banished by light itself, the corruption abated, leaving the shard cold in hand, dark, in need of life.
Greater chests require a gemstone to open. Gemstones are found in different places, like this animal corpse.
The shard grew warm, humming softly from the harnessed energy.
Gemstones are mostly seem to be drops from creatures that you kill. I have not found any on any other corpse. Chests like this can be opened if you possess a gemstone. The items you get from chests are random, with the exception of this particular chest. This chest always drops Atar's Ignition. Atar's Ignition is a buff. John will have it until he completes this level. We can see what it does by holding down the right gamepad as well, in case you forget what it does. You will lose this Divine Grace upon doing a different dungeon, but it will stay with you from level to level.
Before him was now one more dangerous than those that came before.
Gain experience points as you kill enemies. When reaching a certain amount of experience, you will gain a skill point. You can use skill points to upgrade your abilities in the skill tree. In the upper section, we can see how many skill points we currently have available. Down here is our skill tree. This works similarly to games like Grim Dawn or Diablo 2. Over there, we get a brief description. Well, okay, first we can see the current skill level, 0. We get a description of what the skill does. We can see what the current level is and what we're upgrading it to, and the effect of that upgrade. And then finally, we can see how many skill points it takes to upgrade that ability. You must take this ability. You cannot take the other one, not in the tutorial. Let's look at this again briefly. We can see that we took 1 point in Heaven's Strike. It will now take 2 skill points to level it from level 1 to level 2. There's also Shield of Thorns, which will only take 1 skill point to level it. Every time John levels up, he gains more skill points in his Mastery, which is this bar we see on the full left. Once he has 4 points, he'll be able to take level 4 skills, and so on and so forth.
Goblins, a familiar threat, albeit farther out than usual.
Try your new learned skill.
Inherently violent and ill-bathed, goblins were an unfocused but constant threat. Magnificent, but dangerous, a land of love found and of love lost. Before him was sacred ground, left untouched in days gone by. Remaining calm and collected, the shock of his heart-skipping beats was concealed in expert fashion. Before him stood Linda, his eldest daughter, with bow and quiver at the ready, determined to do her part.
I can't pronounce it. We'll call it Electro. Create a temporary aura that damages nearby enemies. These runes are different than buffs. This requires me to activate it. It is very powerful and has a longer cooldown, however, than our Sword of the Heavens skill. Linda's going to follow us for a little bit, but most of the game will be with the character you selected alone. Only at certain points will you have a AI companion with you.
Before the Guardians were not beasts feeding, but monsters consuming, destroying others. They corrupted and distorted, creating even more hungry husks. Both father and daughter gathered their thoughts, their hearts heavier than before. How would they explain what they had witnessed? The ancient tree had been cut down. Together, father and daughter described the horror, the creatures dripping with decay that slithered into bodies stuck between life and death to bolster their ranks. Grandma Margaret confirmed what they all feared. It was the corruption, a cruel entity spoken of only with hushed voices, an ocean of darkness that flowed from the top of Mount Morta. And the Bergsons' duty was to stand against this devouring deluge of death. Kevin was also eager to do his part in the family's fight, especially when his older brother Mark was off somewhere. He was as much a guardian of their mountain home as any of them. She stood. If they were to reach the summit and destroy this evil, as the Bergsons of old had done in the past, they would need the assistance of the sanctuary. Given to the Bergsons by Rhea herself, the sanctuary was a gateway to the mysterious lands around the mountain. Margaret pointed to the huge crystal at the center of the den, revealing their next task: to activate it and open the way to the source of the corruption. And once Rhea's 3 spirits are gathered on the grounds, the only gate to the top of Mount Morta will open in this chamber. By himself, or with the assistance of those who loved him, John needed to gather the 3 spirits from their lands. Without them, he would not be able to stem the flow of the corruption.
Everyone, I'm going to check on my voice one final time and the video. If everything is good, we'll be back in order to do the Kaladipo Caves. So, I will see you guys in a few seconds. Okay everyone, I think it's coming out okay. Let's go ahead and try the first level, shall we? A heads up that I am not expecting this to be successful. Let's give it a go anyway. Alright, well, let's go ahead and do the Silk Caverns. We will be doing the first out of 3 missions there. I think that's what that is saying. Their webs litter the ground, walls, and ceilings. Here, we get to choose one of the characters. Oh, there's 6 characters currently. Okay, gotcha. We can choose either John or Linda to start. And we can see that there's 4 others that will join us at some point throughout the campaign. Let's start with John.
A celestial shard, chipped directly from the ancient crystal in the sanctuary. It would be the Bergsons' lifeline, a tether to pull them back home before death's fateful whisper.
Judging from the bodies, we must not have been the only ones who came through a portal at some point. Perhaps there are others who have the means to reach this location besides Margaret and the Bergsons. The corruption must be animating the dead in this area. We don't have any crystals yet, so we cannot open this up. There are traps around as well. I saw those just as I stepped on them. As long as you're quick enough, you should be able to pass through those without too much trouble. Oh, I forgot. I have my special ability. I should be using it. There's no reason not to. This strange object is corrupted. We will see later what these can do for us, but at the moment, we have no way to interact with this. If there are secret walls or the like in the game, I have not found them yet, nor do I know what to look for. Not every corpse is, should we say, mutilated. Some of these you can search. Sometimes they'll have things in them. There is nothing that dangerous about this strange, extremely scary-looking skull. If you are near it, you will be drawn to the center of it. This is far more dangerous. Striking it will release a pulse of dark energy. Now we leveled, let's spend that level. And I think we'll take Shield of Thorns up a rank. Melee attackers take damage when blocked by John's shield. The spitting web spiders actually have no way to harm you, or they can only slow you. Killing a series of enemies in a row will give you that chain reward you saw. The more you kill, the bigger the reward. It's similar to the multi-kills from the Unreal Tournament days. You have found the finish room portal. Press and hold up to teleport back to it from anywhere on this floor. Generally, this chamber usually will have, a yellow room in it as well. You'll find either a buff or another active ability here. 11th hour. Deal double damage while your health is below 25%. A divine grace. Since we can come back here, we should investigate everything else that might be left on this floor. It looks like there's nothing else that we haven't actually explored here, but there is a health potion we left behind. Let's go and get that, and we also have one crystal. We'll spend it on one of the chests that we left behind. Later on, these crystals can be used to purchase items from a traveling merchant, but we have to find that merchant first. We've only got one crystal, but this level spawned with 2 chests. There's either one in the secret area we didn't find, or it proves that we cannot actually open every chest we come across. As you can see, we got money from that chest, not a divine grace similar to what we gained in the tutorial. Let's teleport back to the finish room. And let's move on. You'll note, by the way, in the upper right-hand corner, it says Silk Caverns 1 of 2. This dungeon has 2 levels in it. We will keep the Divine Grace and anything else we found in between this and the next level. We carry it with us for all the levels of the dungeon.
Thinnest strands of white fibers coated the ground and walls, evidence of the Silk Caverns living up to their name.
In case you guys haven't noticed, I'm trying to cut all the loading out of the playlist. It doesn't take that long, but it takes long enough that I think it would be distracting from the game. That acid puddle is because of that skeleton. It's similar to the blue shards that showed up when we fought the enemy before. The special skeleton. In the tutorial, not the special skeleton, the special corrupted creature in the tutorial, we got a charm. Swap every divine relic after it is used with another random one. Charms are magical objects found in the land of Morta. Each one of them has a special effect that can be activated by pressing down. They are consumed after being activated. You can only carry one charm with you before activating its effect. That will let us re-roll the divine we currently have. We could get something much better. We could get something much worse. Leveling, as you can see, restores some of your hit points, but does not restore all of them, and your max hit points are not increased either. With only one skill point, we cannot take anything at this moment. Spiral of Doom. Cast 2 magic stones that spiral outward from you and damage enemies. It's a bit tricky to use this activated ability. We'll try it in the next big battle we do. Oh, badly beat up there. Thankfully, enough potions to make up for it. I have been unlucky enough sometimes to not get any potions, and my quest ended before I ever reached the boss. Oh, we picked up a divinity shard at some point. I do not know yet what they are used in. They cannot be used, to my knowledge, to open chests. You can see the divinity shard in the lower left-hand corner, the one above the blue symbol, below and to the right of John's portrait. Notice that when John has his shield up, he does not recover stamina. He cannot block forever. Wonder what the spiders eat. I mean, we see lots of dead people. I guess some of the bodies might have something left that they devour. Unless... well, no, they must... Actually, I know nothing about the world. It'd be weird to say that they must eat or drain blood. Maybe they eat or devour something else. There's a chest here, by the way, everyone, and this one doesn't require any shards to open it. Generally, I believe that those have only ever given me money. Looks like there's a secret over there, judging from the mini-map. I suppose maybe it just... oh, no, it's probably related to that door. In addition to the gold rooms, there are blue rooms. These are generally challenges, sometimes story-related, sometimes they can be repeated.
Love, truly a divine emotion, especially during dark days. Love had motivated this mother to lay down her life for her cub. While love now compelled the young one to try and rouse her from eternal slumber. And it would be love welcoming the new orphan among the Bergsons.
Nothing stops me from waiting until this powerful rune is off a cooldown. You could just wait until it is before you do every single battle, but I think it'd be more exciting for us, and for me, to just keep pushing on and try to get through these dungeons as quickly as I can. That said, I do want to explore every single nook and cranny in the dungeons. Another charm. Increased primary attack damage at the expense of decreased maximum health. I think we will use that charm. Hello. What is this?
Not all in the caves were refugees. Some were just traveling merchants stuck in a bind. The strange-looking shopkeep dusted off his clothes, tipped his hat. He invited them to stop by his shop later, promising something for all adventuring needs.
From now on, the shopkeeper will appear in dungeons, offering goods for a price. Another charm increases the amount of morv gained. Morv is the gold we are picking up. Wonder why he was sealed behind this door, though. Might not have been a good thing that we released him. Oh, so let's use our charm and swap out these two. When I'm below 25% life, a single hit's going to kill me, so I don't really need to do increased damage. And we're not going to get any more morv unless we beat the boss. Did I use it? I guess we did? Swap every divine relic. Oh! Divine relic. So we will lose our stone ability and we'll pick up something different instead. Not a divine grace. Oh, good thing I used it. I thought it was divine graces this whole time. Well, too late now. We'll record this one. You can get potions from these chests, by the way, before the boss room, but sometimes you might not get any. Be prepared that if you walk into the boss area with lower life, you might have to do the boss with that lower life amount.
All 8 eyes studied the one so willing to walk into their own tomb. The Bergson began to slip away, wondering if this was death.
Everything that you've done still counts, so we still count as rescuing the wolf cub and the shopkeeper Dariani rescued. We don't, I believe, keep any of the gemstones. Oh, actually, the rest is just stats, although we will keep the money that we gathered during this attempt.
They gasped for air as the celestial shard brought them back, a sensation no hero could become accustomed to. As she heard John and Linda describe their foray, thoughts rushed through Margaret's head. The corruption had amplified the creature's wickedness, and no longer were they part of the harmony of the Rhea. With the new threats looming, Margaret asked Ben to prepare his workshop. He would have to take charge of enhancing the warrior family's weapons and armor. Although in the safety of the Bergsons' house, the young cub was not yet free from danger. Exhaustion racked the animal's body, its chest heaving for even the smallest of breaths. The family believed several plants found deep in the nearby caves, combined together, could serve to remedy the situation.
Uncle Ben can upgrade and enhance the Bergensons' equipment.
Uncle Ben reached out to the familiar warmth of the forge. If they were to reach the top of Mount Morta, their equipment would need to be of the highest quality.
Uncle Ben uses Morv to upgrade the entire family's weapons and armor, increasing their main attributes. These are the family's main attributes. The selected attribute's description can be seen on the right panel. Press A on the available attribute to upgrade it. We must upgrade this as part of the tutorial. Armor gives us more maximum health. It does not reduce the damage we take. Though technically it does, since now I don't believe enemies' damage scales to us, so technically we take more hits. We can also currently increase our movement speed and the damage that we do. Okay, well, we have a little bit more money. Let's go ahead and upgrade our warfare once. We'll take a point of swiftness. And I think we'll upgrade our damage again. The rest of these are currently locked, and I believe they'll probably be unlocked as we unlock more characters to play through the game with. Sometimes, characters have this symbol over their head. This means that there's something special about that character. We'll get a little bit of lore if we decide to see what we can learn about her or him.
When light faded from the sky and most were fast asleep, Mary would write about her family, immortalizing them for future generations.
We can look around as well, as you can see, to see the surroundings, and hovering over people will allow us to see what their thoughts are. Oh, looks like there's a training dummy out here. Now, I mentioned it earlier that I would read some lore entries, so we're going to do that, and then that's going to be the end of this episode. So, let's take a look at the Bergensons. an ancient family of guardians and heroes who have protected the land of Rhea for generations. Ben. Actually, let's read about John, since he's the one we've been using. A devoted father and a wise warrior, John is the ever-vigilant guardian of his family and home, always on the lookout to counter any threat, even before it becomes a problem. In his youth, he went north to learn swordsmanship. There, he got recruited into a band of fighters to stand against the goblin raids and their banditry, and took part in several skirmishes. Around that time, he saved a northerner farm girl from the goblins and subsequently fell in love with her. They took each other's hands in marriage under the linden trees in the old Barahut, and made a home there. It was in those years that their first 2 children, Linda and Mark, were born. But their life got harder when Borshra, the leader of Barahut, started to crack down on her people and oppress them, forcing John and his family to leave the north for the land of his fathers. Years later, when his mother Margaret found clues and signs that his long-lost father Adam might still be alive, John sent off to look for him in the Caladipo caves. He wandered those caves for weeks, but all he finds from them is his heirloom sword. These days, he makes it his job to guard the caverns passing through the southern borders against the goblins, and his name is known far and wide among those who journey the oft-treacherous lands around Morta. And let's read about Mary. Patient, resilient, and a guardian to the soul of her children and the family. Not a night passes that Mary doesn't think about her family and prays for their health. One can say that her life boils down to one thing: her children. Mary was the daughter of a farmer from north. When their village was raided by goblins, she was captured and subsequently rescued and brought to Barahut by John Bergson. They lost their hearts to each other in short order and got married. After the birth of their first 2 children, the family moved back to John's ancestral home in the Midlands. She spent years raising her children, but her life had its own ups and downs. She has an illness that relapses and remits every few years, and the healers have told her not to put herself through any tension. Mary loves to write, and whenever she finds any time between her household duties and raising her children, she scribbles things down that she seldom lets anyone see. Okay, everyone, I think that'll do it for us this time. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this was fun. We're going to try that spider again the next episode, and we'll try using Linda that time and see if we do any better. If we lose with Linda, and it's still about 30 minutes or less, we'll try it again, and we'll use John that time. Thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.